Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 Road to Glory series for 2019. We kicked off this brand new season 2 days ago, and it's safe to say we're back to the usual shithousery. No, Robert didn't even crash. He just couldn't be arsed to drive this box of a car anymore. He just couldn't be arsed.
But it looks like he bested you.
He did effed up the Grand Prix. How did he best me, Claire? So after that first opening episode, which was pretty decent actually in terms of results, but yeah, it was definitely already getting to my nerves with the stupidity of Jeff and Claire. I mean, they literally know no bounds, and I'm pretty sure Codemasters knew how angry I got at them in Season 1, so they changed nothing about them for this game, for Season 2 then. We're still working on trying to get enough resource points to make any upgrade this season. Of course, we were in debt last episode. We got into the green finally, but we still probably got some work to do. Maybe by the end of this episode, just about, we could afford to finally fix that ultimate engine upgrade, which will be a massive help to us, because that's really the only thing we have going for us on this car, is the straight line speed. The aero's horrendous, the chassis is horrendous, and to be fair, the entire team is horrendous. But alas, going into the Bahrain GP, they're a bit of a power circuit for this second episode, so let's keep spirits high, you know. We could build on what was a pretty damn decent result, even though Jeff, of course, did not agree with it. You know, we could go one better. We could even aim towards the top 5, potentially. In reality, though, that might actually be quite tricky, because we go into qualifying, then we're going to see how we do over one lap for the grid tomorrow on Sunday. Into turn 1, looking okay, actually. We're actually briefly to P1 on the braking somehow there. The power of the Williams guiding us through that first corner, but then immediately losing the back end and losing all 15, 16 positions we had there in one exit of a corner. So that was fantastic. At the moment, though, the Racing Point car, Perez is somehow actually in first place there, but by the time we get to the third sector, Hamilton reigning supreme there in the Mercedes car. We're losing a lot of time now compared to the Merc. We can see there we're still P16, so the field spread is starting to kind of go up there as we go through the second and third sector. And P15 is not too bad in the grand scheme of things, but you've got to remember, compared to what we were doing last season, sometimes we were kind of getting up there to, you know, P12, P13, so P15 really isn't that great, especially also if you consider where we finished last episode in the race itself.
We're very happy with that position. Well done.
Oh, but of course Jeff is really impressed with that. So let me get this straight. He wasn't impressed with our 8 points at the Australian Grand Prix, which was a magnificent feat for the first race of the season in this literal box on wheels, but he is impressed with a P15 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Great stuff, Jeff. Great. Kill me now. And I gotta say, and I'm not trying to bully him, I'm really not, but is Robert Kubica actually trying to drive this car? He's 1.7 off the pace. Now, that's actually some sort of improvement from last season. A lot of the time we were about 2.3, 2.5 off the pace, but in terms of compared to my time there and what he's done, it's just not good enough. Like, the car is not that horrendous. We're quite close to Alfa Romeo on the R&D chart, and like I said, we've got a good engine underneath us, so in reality, we should be able to do better at circuits like Bahrain, and so I just don't know what he's playing at. I mean, he's going to upset his 3 fans in the grandstand that are going to be shouting the loudest with that random Robert Kubica chant I'm still getting PTSD from the Hungarian GP. But anyway, enough digging into Kubica. It is showtime for race day at the Bahrain GP, and if Australia was anything to go by, we have a good chance of points here. Of course, anything could happen. Some crashes involved, especially in lap 1, especially very tight turn 1 here at the Bahrain GP, so hoping for that. I mean, that's almost half our game plan. Like, just to give you a little insight into the engineering debrief, you know, we have this debrief after qualifying before the race. Most other teams, you know, they do their strategy work, they talk about tyres, they talk about the fuel load, when they're gonna pit, you know, what's the best place to overtake potentially in terms of the ERS usage and whatnot. Williams, we're sat there in a room, the head engineer just goes, right, okay, keep your nose clean, alright, get one hand off the steering wheel, fingers crossed, and you've got to hope for about 5-6 crashes here, and then we'll be in the money. We'll be P10 minimum, and then what you need to hope for is a safety car, virtual safety car, bunch up the grid again, and then just dive bomb and hope for the best, and that is the Williams game plan. So, as you can see, it's a winning formula.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Oh, okay, so only now, ahead of the the Bahrain Grand Prix, moments before the second race. Is Jeff now suddenly impressed with what we did at Australia? Okay, cool. Sound. This guy is the most confusing man I've ever met. But anyway, we move on. The strategy, of course, will be a one-stop. Again, we'll start on the fast compound tyre because it seems like this Williams car, at least right now where we are with the chassis developments, is pretty horrendous on the harder compounded tyres always. So we want to go as fast as we can at the start and then hopefully just park the stadium, pretty much part of the factory on every apex to try and defend our positions. But here we go then to 5 red lights to the Bahrain Grand Prix, and we're underway. It's initially a good getaway there, and it's actually a decent one where we could go side by side with the Racing Point car of Raikkonen into turn 1, so potentially getting up the order even more. Raikkonen absolutely sends it, so I need to take a leaf out of his book, really. Yeah, I need to take my engineer's debriefing advice a little bit more there. Carbon fibre flails a little bit. We're caught up now behind Carlos Sainz, up into P14 at least. We're going to have a go at him as we go up into overtake mode. We've got some space to work with on the inside there. Ricciardo has a little look at Valtteri Bottas for a moment there in the Red Bull car. All these driver transfers are quite confusing actually with these number of these ones I'm not used to really in Season 2 here. But we're up into P13 then, so a decent getaway. Where is Kubica? He's last place. He's solid. Solid, mate. But anyways, we're going to forget about our horrendous teammate and just focus on us then. P13, we're just 4 positions away from the coveted points-paying positions. But in a straight line, I thought we were going to be pretty decent here. Ricciardo pulling away from us. So the one crumb of comfort I had with this car, gone.
Oh, that's a...
So it seems like that ultimate engine upgrade can't come soon enough, but into the brake zone, massive amount of domino effecting here as we've got a side-by-side moment between Hülkenberg and Raikkonen, so that allows us to get it down the inside of Ricciardo there. Very cheeky overtake up into P12. There's a crash though behind us. Virtual safety car is out there. We slow down and hang on. Ricciardo just overtakes us under virtual safety car. I go to repass him because he's just overtaken me, and then the FI tell me I need to give the position back. He's just illegally overtaken me, and therefore like, oh, no, you know what? We saw nothing wrong with that, actually. Way to kick a man when he's down. Do you know the car I'm driving? Come on. So this is why the virtual safety car got called out here. Crash between the 2 Alfa Romeos, I believe, and Pierre Gasly here in the Toro Rosso. It's Giovinazzi going for a move to the inside. Gasly makes it 3 wide with an overtake on the inside there. So a pretty decent amount of action there. They're 3 abreast into turn 1. Got a Stroll on the outside. Giovinazzi, I believe, looks like he's going to get pinched. Yep, just pinched in the middle there, and it's a rather amusing crash actually. There's the tyres pop off. So it seems like some other teams are taking the same cost-cutting methods here that we've taken here at Williams of making their car out of blue tack and Prix stick, it would seem. Nevertheless, then the virtue safety car will end, and I'm still pretty damn salty about that Ricciardo overtake, so we're going to try and get him as quickly as we can here. But if that is just not sabotage, I don't know what is. You know, if that just doesn't scream this entire thing is rigged, that we will never achieve glory, then I don't know what will. Like, watch how we get to, you know, we could be in Season 7 of this series. We've got a car that can win races, and somehow the FIA are going to rig it so that we never actually obtain this glory. So now moving on to lap number 4 then, we're up into P12, thanks to also Sergio Perez that also had a DNF there, so we've only got 17 runners in this Grand Prix left, so we're only 2 places away then for some points paying positions. I've had enough with the debacle with Daniel Ricciardo, so we're going to try and absolutely send it, you know, listen to my engineer in the debrief, that last point there. Ricciardo goes a little bit defensive, he's having a look to the inside of Hülkenberg, leaves us the room on the outside there to sail it round, and actually to my disbelief the car actually sticks there, and it actually felt pretty damn decent there. So we've just got Rick Bobby up into P11, 1 more position, and we'll have Hülkenberg. Need to watch out though, because there's a bit of a weird domino effect going on. I believe Raikkonen, I think he's got some damage to his front wing here, because we're all going a little bit too slow. You've got Valtteri Bottas there in the Red Bull, unable to overtake him, but stuck here in P9. So I'm pretty sure Raikkonen has some sort of damage that's slowing us down. You can see in the minimap there's quite a gap there. So normally by lap 4, I don't really think our Williams car would have this much pace to really keep up with. And you can see there, Bottas sends it to the inside and goes for the move. It's a great overtake there, actually. They go up the hill. And you know what? I got inspired by that move. That was a really nice one by Bottas. So we're going to take a leaf out of his boot and we're going to absolutely send it to the inside of Hulkenberg, who's got some damage there. A little bit of jostling, and oh my god, we literally catapult Hulkenberg nearly sideways. There's a T-bone collision between the two Haas cars. Hulkenberg's out of the Grand Prix, and that is one of the most dramatic little slow crashes I've ever seen. And look at that, Hulkenberg nearly tips fully on his side there. He actually gets pushed back by his tyre and Ricciardo, and balances and just sits there on his rear tyre. Looks like a pretty of a crazy crash from onboard Ricciardo here. You can see the rear tyre shears, and that is a sight to behold from the onboard Ricciardo. Ricciardo has to reverse then and get it back into gear, and just about stays in this Grand Prix then. But unfortunately for us then, we've gained one free position, but we've got damage to our front wings, so we have to come in there and come in for a pit stop onto the medium tyres. I mean, it's not too bad. We're probably going to come in on lap 6, so it's 2 laps longer. Potentially the tyre wear might be quite bad at the end of the Grand Prix, but you know, if you watch season 1, I'm not going to lie, a lot of the time, the tactics were also kind of just trying to get in amongst it, and you know, if a crash happens and a competitor has to exit the Grand Prix, we're not gonna, we take those here at Williams. Remember, we are a charity organisation. If you look up on the company's house in the UK, Williams registers as a charity. I think you'll find, I'm not making it up, not at all. So now we're in P14 out of 16, so we move on through onto lap number 8, so we've gone about 3 laps there on these medium tyres. They've been feeling okay, not as horrendous as they did at the Australian Grand Prix. Now we're going to finally gain some positions here as finally people come in for their first pit stop. We didn't lose too much time with the damage we had pre the pit stop, so we haven't lost that much time, I don't think, to cars. We now find ourselves behind Carlos Sainz, so the man we kept behind last race we're now chasing, and the thought of that has apparently just made me crap my pants there as we go across and cut the corner at turn 3 there as the car just wobbles out of grip. But now we've got Robert Kubica, who's also making a pit stop, so thankfully this will elevate us from P11 to P10. So actually, in this whole grand scheme of things, we've finessed the entire grid. We've got ourselves from P13 to P10 in the points. I mean, it's only 1 point, but you know, you've got to start somewhere. It's not exactly the lofty heights we're at this Australian Grand Prix, but I think you can probably agree with me. I don't think we thought that was going to happen every single Grand Prix. We're still the worst car on the grid, and we're not going to get as lucky as we did at Australia with that many DNFs every single time. But alas, I thought I could maybe try and catch Carlos Sainz, keep up with him, but the pace just was not there. And then my engineer started saying the most blatant things that were very, very obvious because they were literally happening to my car at the time of him saying it.
Be aware we expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
So Jeff, useful as ever. One, he doesn't get happy when we have a good result. He's then potentially very happy at a rubbish result. Doesn't know when to give me info when I actually need the info. And I then found out later, also on lap number 10, he's also the world's worst motivational speaker.
Keep managing your tyres. Manage your tyres.
Like, cheers, Jeff. Literally, cheers, Jeff. Like, okay, thanks for that. Yeah, I wasn't trying to manage my tyres. I was actually just trying to cook them and just not get points in this Grand Prix because, you know, why should we? We're Williams. And so now as we go on through this Grand Prix, lap number 10 onto lap 11, we've got company behind us. Raikkonen in the Racing Point car coming to try and overtake us here. So we're going to have to go very defensive. You can see trying to break off the toe very aggressively as we now enter turn 1, going back to the racing line. Raikkonen has a little look on the outside. We're a little bit deep, though, into turn 1. He has a look on the outside. Thankfully, is not able to actually make the move on the outside this time around. So we've got about 3 laps left to survive this. The tyre wear is looking pretty bleak, to be honest. So I didn't think those 2-3 laps were going to be that bad, you know, that early pit stop we made, but they're actually making a big difference here. So on lap 11 onto 12, I'm going to play a very wild fox move here. I'm going to let Raikkonen through here on purpose to get the DRS off him, to re-overtake him, to keep our P10 out. This might backfire, but we're going to give it a go here. And into the last corner, Raikkonen actually just completely bottles it. And I don't know, the pressure of getting into P10 in the Racing Point car, he just buckled and straight away locked up there. So not only did we actually get ahead of him already on the exit at the last corner, we actually got DRS still as well. And so the plan worked to a T, really. And so we've maintained P10. Lance Stroll, though, now has got involved in the Alfa Romeo. Now remember, Alfa Romeo are the next best team on the R&D graph. So if Stroll's going to come knocking, if he's the one that's going to try and take our P10, I'm not having any of it. Just like with Sainz, I'm not having any of it. We're going to keep this position. We move on to lap number 12. This time I couldn't do the kind of move that I wanted to do, basically of letting him through again because he was a bit too close. And remember, Stroll's there as well, so instead just to break the toe, go very aggressively, literally almost touching the pit wall there on the right, breaking the toe, but it works really well there. You can see Raikkonen just doesn't bother to even follow me, which I thought was a bit surprising because the AI have done that in the past, but we do lock up into turn 1, so Raikkonen is fully there on the outside. We have to get the elbows out and just about squeeze him out there, so we live to fight another day just about, but pulling my collar a little bit at that one. That was a bit of a big yikes into turn 1. We now move into lap number 14 in the last lap of the Grand Prix. We've still got a whole sector to go, but Verstappen's already crossed the line to win the Bahrain Grand Prix for Red Bull, so decent stuff there. 2 different winners in this season so far. You can see my car is really at its end, basically going opposite lock through that corner, which is usually flat just about in qualifying mode, was pretty scary. And you can see the tyres are actually shot, about 74% there on the rear left. I really didn't think the tyre was going to be that bad, but it was. But we are just going to come through and survive. We fought so hard for 1 championship point.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And once again, Jeff just doesn't care. He was as excited there as he was for my 8 points last race. So that once again just proves my point. The man has his emotional clock inside his body. He's just broken. He just doesn't know when to express joy and when to just be like, okay, that was a good job. Let's keep professional here. Like, what's he like at his own birthday? He must just be miserable.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. You were cutting your way through the field during the race.
Oh yeah, you could say cutting our way through the field, Claire. It's kind of more so surviving the Williams car, because when we stamp on the brakes, sometimes the car just doesn't really fancy stopping, so you just have to kind of have a controlled cut through the field that way.
You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
Oh, that would be telling. That would be telling if I told you the secret. But to be honest, it's not really a secret, let's be honest. It's just the fact that our expectations are so low that it's very easy to break it. I could literally just turn up and not DNF out the Grand Prix, and I think Claire Williams would be pretty damn happy with me.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Pleasure, Claire, pleasure. At least you didn't ask an absolutely horrendous, stupid question to me like the first episode. You know, calmed it down. But here we go. Then we get a bonus of 400 points for completing a clean race. Completing a clean race. God, I hope that's for this Australian Grand Prix. I really hope we got that objective for this Australian Grand Prix, because otherwise that makes no sense whatsoever. But anyway, it's time to celebrate, because we finally have enough resource points to buy and rebuy, I should say, this ultimate engine upgrade, which will make our car the most powerful car on the grid in terms of engine power. So that's going to be absolutely insane. And then I thought we'd go for a chassis upgrade, since our chassis is very, very weak. We've not really done much upgrading in Season 1 there. So I went for a weight reduction, trying to, again, go with this whole lightweight car, bullet in a straight line. It clearly wasn't really there for some reason. The Bahrain Grand Prix, potentially my setup was a bit too compromising on the downforce, maybe. So I'm hoping at China, down that long back straight, that ultimate engine upgrade is going to come in clutch. And I think both me and Kubica could benefit quite a fair bit. But guys, if you did enjoy this second episode of Season 2 of the F1 Road to Glory series, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.